After months of waiting, Beast Hunters is finally a thing now. Let's celebrate by doing another thing that we call toy reviewing. Now, who first? Bumblebee? Could do Soundwave, a lot curious about him, and then there's Laserback, who's the new mold of the batch, but Wheeljack's the one that people are anticipating. Bumblebee! I'm reviewing Bumblebee. Just stop staring at me already. Yeah, it's another Bumblebee toy. Better to face the facts now. It's the kid market character, and there's a reason they make so many. But every so often, one seems to turn up psychotic to amuse us older collectors. So let's get to this one. This time, Bumblebee's gone Mad Max on us, ditching racing stripes for black spikes jutting out from the front and rear. There's a mixed reaction to Beast Hunters remolds. My reaction? What, you'd prefer another lame repaint that just moves the stripes a little? Keep in mind, we get barely repainted toys so kids can still identify who they are. At least with the remolds, we're getting something different than the norm, and I actually really like the changes to Bumblebee. Looks like he came right out of Twisted Metal. In fact, it took me a while to realize just how much was changed. The fenders have got a layered armor look now. The doors have extra lines and spikes, right down to the door handles getting sharp. The rear has doubled the exhaust and adds just as much sharp pointy things. And the roof is totally redone. It's even shorter now, giving the vehicle a lower, sleeker profile. I think the only thing to escape remolding were the tires, and really, would you have noticed if they were? I just wish it had all gotten the paint apps that went into the new hood. I mean, this thing would look epic with silver armor plating everywhere. Also new is the lack of translucent plastic in the construction. If you know me, you realize how happy that makes me. But otherwise, since nothing is painted over to color match, the yellow is far more consistent across the toy. Except for where it looks like it's catching fire. Yeah, didn't know that about the Beast Hunters remolds. They all feature a marbleized effect in their plastic. In Bumblebee's case, it's orange swirled. It's a cool idea and it helps the deco from being identical, but it's a random effect, so no two Bumblebees will look alike. Wow, when have you ever heard someone say that? Oh, but the vehicle's not done. There's old and new weapons to add on that sends this design beyond Thunderdome. Bumblebee's gone full rage mode with the engine blaster, massive crossbow, and 6 missiles stored all over. And suddenly, I'm sorry I complained about the lack of deco. With all the weapons, you could hardly tell this was the same toy we got before. The attitude of the toys are night and day, where the original is kid-friendly and this one looks like a harbinger of the apocalypse. I am happy to see this change in the toy. The crossbow has good launching power and adds some great play value to an otherwise lacking vehicle mode, though the novelty of spiking Viacons on Bee's new bumper is also kind of appealing. The way it pegs in even imitates a ratchet joint, so it'll hold in positions firmly and face perfectly forward all by itself. It's a small touch, but if you're picky like me, it's an appreciated one. So with our, heroic Bumblebee decked out to slay dragons, let's get to transforming him. If you heard me on the WTF at TFW podcast on TFW 2005, cheap plug, you might have heard me say that Prime B would have the best automorph transformation ever if it only worked right. Well, I am happy to tell you on Beast Hunters B, it finally does work, and it is very cool. A lot moves and adjusts in small and large ways, and it is very visually effective. And the head actually goes all the way back now. Thank Primus for small miracles. Personally, I wish the shoulders went farther back so they didn't have this inward slant, but that's me being picky again. I mean, how dare I? I'm just a toy critic after all. So the robot mode is, how do I put this? Terrifying. Bumblebee's gone full-on Hornet on us. There's something about a Bumblebee that straps live missiles to his door wings that really makes me forget this character has a 12-year-old best friend and speaks like R2-D2. I will admit, though, in reality, not much of the robot mode has changed. The vehicle mode changes really don't carry over, aside from the missile racks on the doors and the massive spikes on the shoulders, though that change has made him less barrel-chested. The rest of the molding is pretty much untouched, aside from that. Okay, remember how Cyberfire just accidentally looked pissed off and demonic? Yeah, the new head sculpt feels like the designers noticed that and decided to trump it. Between the sloped brow, the spiked mohawk, and the high mouthpiece, it feels like he's about to Red Lantern on us. But it's the eyes. Those burning orange eyes with the painted pupils. The kind that follow you, staring at you accusingly, like he knows what you do when nobody's watching. It's creepy and... okay, I can't stare at that anymore. I can smell my soul burning. So, where was... Oh, right, toy review. Okay, I'm back. Let's go deco, where we can see the new hood makes it through and looks good here, though some paint apps from the original release are missing. I do like how the knee spikes have been painted black, breaks up the yellow legs, and adds to the new aesthetic as well. I do notice, however, the swirls aren't present in this mode. It's like only the new vehicle mode parts got the treatment, which is kind of a letdown. Let's talk articulation, where this toy doesn't actually do a bad job. 2 joints in the shoulders ensure that they have full rotation in both directions. There's a bicep swivel and those faux ratcheted joints at the elbows that they're doing a lot more of lately. Nothing at the waist, but the hips are ball jointed and rotate, good range in the knees, and the feet have a lot of room to hinge back and forth, though there's no ankle tilt. Overall, it's about what I'd expect out of a modern deluxe. Nothing outstanding, but good for what you pay for. But that does bring me back to the bow gun for this mode, which raises an issue with the new Transformer strategy. If your toy ended up with bad joints, well, there's no chance of them holding up the massive new weapons. This is random from figure to figure. On my Bumblebee, his left arm holds things fine, while the joints in the right arm aren't quite strong enough. It's definitely a big mileage may vary thing. Your Bumblebee might be opposite or might have no problem at all. The weapon does look cool in his hands though, and he still gets his arm blasters that can peg to the forearms or combine for a handgun, cause, you know, he didn't look well armed before. I also take this chance to point out the bow can actually collapse to be stored on his back, or with that imagination thing, you can spin it around and give B a capture claw. I think this might have actually been intentional since folding the bow up prevents you from using any missiles. It's not mentioned in the instructions, though I might have missed something since the instruction sheets are now the size of a road map. To wrap up, let's talk price. I never normally mention price since it's an objective thing. It's ultimately up to you if a toy is worth what a store asks, whether it's full price, on sale, or even overpriced. I'm just here to give my opinion to help you decide for yourself, but in this case, I should address it. Yes, the deluxes got smaller and the price went up, but if you've paid attention to BotCon, you'll know this was coming for years now. It's a matter of material costs that can't be helped. But if Beast Hunters and similar treatments in Generations are an indication, they seem to be trying to make up for the price hike. In fact, the new mold Laserback even seems to have the same bulk of older toys and still retains his spring-loaded gimmicks. But back on topic, Bumblebee does feel a lot more substantial and much more worth his price than the original. The remolds add a lot of bulk that give a unique style to the toy, and the new weapon adds some unintrusive gimmick that works well for him in both modes. And then there's the whole part where he actually works now. So, actually, I'm quite the fan here. My only word of warning was going to be the swirls, since buying online would mean you'd have no say in how they looked on yours. But it's packed in robot mode anyway, you wouldn't be able to see them in a store either, so happy hunting. If you skipped Bumblebee before, and I know a lot of you did, I've seen the store shelves, this one's worth picking up. It's a lot more than a rehash of movie BB, and at the least, it makes a nice sidekick for Cyberfire. Just don't let them stay close together for too long. Bad things start to happen. Oh no, not again, not again!